Pay close attention, for what I am going to share with you will transform how you navigate this world. The treatment you receive from others is not arbitrary. It has nothing to do with fortune. It is a reflection, a mirror that reveals the judgment you've already made about yourself. The majority of men never grasp this. They keep waiting for authorization, for advancement, for a superior to finally acknowledge and deem them worthy. They spend their whole lives in anticipation, yet the acknowledgement never arrives because authority was never meant to come from external sources. It starts as a solitary choice made in obscurity, well before the outside world takes notice. Individuals don't react to your actual self. They react to the self you believe yourself to be. They detect it in your gaze before you utter a single syllable. They sense it in the presence you command when you step into a room. They perceive it in the pauses between your words, in whether your eyes avert or maintain contact. With every breath, you emit a signal, and the world merely listens and aligns with that message. So be absolutely clear on this. Respect does not originate from others. It begins with you. Long before anyone hesitates to oppose you, you need to become someone whom others cannot dismiss lightly before they will value your time, and you must cease regarding your time as valueless. The foundation of your dominion is laid within your mind, step by step, in solitude, always starting with the mind. If you get that aspect wrong, all your external efforts will be in vain. If you get it right, the world will restructure itself to accommodate you. Without uttering a single word, this serves as the cornerstone. All further structures depend on it, so reflect on it and allow it to penetrate your understanding. The change you are pursuing has always been an internal endeavor. Number 2, the mirror is deceitful in both directions. Here is the truth that the frail will never comprehend, the one that distinguishes those who ascend from those who merely dream. The world functions as a mirror, but with a delay. It doesn't reflect your true identity. It reflects the identity you have already chosen for yourself. Then it patiently awaits to validate your choice. Put it to the test yourself. Enter a room with the belief that you are insignificant, that you don't fit in, that you are a bother occupying someone else's space. Then observe how the room instantly concurs. See them, interrupt you, talk over you. Notice their gaze drift past you towards someone more confident. They aren't being cruel. They aren't plotting against you. They are merely respecting the judgment you delivered to them at the entrance. You informed them you were unremarkable, and they complied. But here is the turning point. Alter that judgment silently within yourself, without any declaration or request, and the mirror is compelled to transform alongside you. The identical room, the same individuals, the identical furnishings, lighting, and noise. But now a different man enters, and suddenly they sit up straighter, they soften their voices. They pause for you to complete your sentence rather than cutting it short. Not a single thing in that room budged. You were the one who shifted. The transformation occurred within an invisible realm, yet it was palpable to all. This is the aspect that ought to unsettle you. In the most constructive sense, you have been conditioning the world to treat you precisely as it currently does. Each wince, every unnecessary apology, every instance you minimized yourself to ease others' comfort, you were teaching them your value, and they paid that price because you determined it. So set a new one. Carry yourself like a man who has already won the argument before it starts. Not boisterous, not cocky, simply calm, sure, grounded. The world does not respect the man who desires respect. It respects the man who has silently concluded the matter is not debatable. Stop waiting for the reflection to praise you first. Decide first, then let the mirror catch up, because it always, always does. If this resonates with something real in you, comment with the phrase, "I am the verdict." Say it where everyone can see it. Speak it into being. Look closely at how most men go through their days, and you'll see the same quiet tragedy repeating. They are constantly auditioning, silently pleading to be chosen, scanning every face in the room for a hint of approval. Changing their words mid-sentence, the instant an eyebrow lifts, they soften their opinions before anyone has even questioned them. They laugh a half-second too early at jokes that weren't amusing. They apologize for taking space they had every right to occupy. This is the posture of prey, and the predators of this world recognize it instantly. Not because they are more intelligent, but because they simply do not fear. A man who always seeks permission has handed the keys to his life to every stranger he meets. He is not living. He is performing, hoping the audience approves enough to let him continue. But the powerful man does not try out. Understand this deeply. He has already cast himself as the lead in his own life. And he is not waiting for a callback from anyone. He does not enter a room asking, do they approve of me? Do they like me? Am I welcome here? He enters asking a colder, sharper question. Do they meet my standard? Are they worth my time, my attention, my trust? Feel how that single reversal changes the entire dynamic. The moment you flip the direction of judgment, you stop being the one on trial. You become the one holding court. You stop performing and you start observing. And observation is power, because the one who watches always sees more than the one desperate to be seen. And here is the law beneath the law. The moment you stop needing them, they begin needing you. This is not manipulation. It is gravity. Need repels. Desperation has a scent, and people back away from it without knowing why. But self-possession, calm, grounded, unaffected self-possession attracts. It pulls people in like a force they cannot name. The man who needs nothing from the room becomes the man the entire room quietly revolves around. They sense he cannot be bought with flattery, moved by pressure, or shaken by rejection. And so they want his approval even more. So step off the stage you never agreed to perform on. Stop chasing a verdict from people who haven't earned the right to judge you. Set your own standard, raise it high, and make the world rise to meet it. You are not here to be chosen. You are here to choose. Number 4. Silence is a weapon. Watch the truly powerful. And you will notice something that escapes most people entirely. They are not loud. They avoid talking just to break moments of quiet. They don't quickly justify, protect, or demonstrate their worth to those around them. Understand that loudness is the sound of insecurity trying to occupy space before it can be evaluated. Someone who never stops speaking is afraid of what silence might expose about him. In contrast, composed individuals are calm, careful, and balanced. They are comfortable with quiet because they have no secrets within it. Master this, and you possess an advantage that few ever use. Once you cease excessive explaining, you appear mysterious, and a mysterious man is one who cannot be harmed or influenced. Others can only control what they foresee. They can only apply pressure to what they can assess. However, a person who discloses little, responds slowly, and deliberately leaves a question dangling for an extra moment. Such a person turns into an enigma, and enigmas earn a type of esteem that loudness cannot achieve. Observe how just one hesitation before answering draws people closer. See how holding back your response causes others to rush to fill the void, frequently revealing more than planned. Quietness extracts honesty from people while safeguarding your own thoughts. This places you as the observer, the evaluator, the decision-maker, rather than the performer. It requires self-control, and it's more challenging than it appears. The impulse to clarify is strong when you are misjudged. Every part of you wants to fix their misunderstanding, present your reasoning, triumph in that minor dispute, and be seen correctly. Oppose that urge. You have no obligation to provide a constant narration of your decisions. Allow them to question your actions and make their own guesses. Their uncertainty is not your issue to fix. It's a benefit you should preserve. He who clarifies everything trades his depth for the easy relief of being comprehended by those who would never be significant. Therefore, when you speak, say less, be sincere, and allow your statements to hold significance exactly because you use them deliberately. Someone who speaks nonstop cheapens his own speech. Each statement becomes meaningless chatter. Conversely, a person who speaks infrequently makes every utterance an occasion. Others pay attention, recall his words, and cite them afterwards. Incorporate that rarity into your communication style and observe your impact increase without ever needing to speak louder. Your quietness will disturb those who lack confidence and win over the wise. Both outcomes benefit you. Allow others to dominate the atmosphere with their desire for attention. You remain calm, speak minimally, yet inexplicably dominate the space. This is the contradiction of genuine authority. It speaks softly, and everyone falls silent to hear. Number 5. Let go of attachment to the result. This is the injury that drains more people than any other, and most are unaware it's destroying them. They desire it excessively. The advancement, the recognition, the connection, the transaction, the affirmation, and the craving itself. That intense, frantic, clutching need seeps out of them like blood and water, and others, akin to sharks, detect it from far away. As soon as anyone perceives how much you require something, they possess you and precisely know which button to press. Precisely your weak spot, exactly what to present and what to withdraw. Your longing turns into their advantage. Your dependency becomes their restraint on you. You voluntarily give them that power whenever you reveal how important their response is to you. The Stoics recognized this insight 2 millennia ago, and it remains as relevant as ever. You have no command over results. You never have. You only manage your effort, your behavior, your self-control, your reaction. Nothing past that boundary. Therefore, devote yourself fully to what is within your control and completely let go of what is not. Give your absolute best, then let go of the outcome freely. This isn't weakness. This isn't giving up. It's the exact opposite. It's the steadfast calm of someone who has resolved that their tranquility cannot be bought. No matter the cost, grasp the strength concealed within this. One who can abandon anything possesses a silent command over all. This isn't due to coldness or indifference, but because nothing can be leveraged against him. When dealing with someone who requires nothing from the trade, if they can't disturb your peace, they can't influence your choices. If they can't unnerve you with refusal, all their perceived weapons become useless. You become steadfast, not through fierce resistance to hold your position. Rather, because you were never relying on ground that could be seized away. Your solidity resides within yourself, beyond anyone's ability to disturb. Imagine a negotiation where you truly have no need for the agreement. Imagine a dialogue where their validation would be nice, but lacking it has no price for you. Envision a bond you'd respect completely, yet could endure without. In each scenario, you possess a power that a needy person can only fantasize about. They plead with their entire being, even while their words remain composed. You are merely there, merely open, merely comfortable. And that comfort frightens those who base their plans on your anxiety. Non-attachment doesn't mean you cease to care. It means you cease to hold on. You continue to chase, to construct, to strive for your desires with complete fervor. Yet you cut the tie, connecting your value to the outcome, so that defeat cannot reduce you and refusal cannot label you. You evolve into someone who plays the game elegantly while remaining detached from it. He competes with intensity, yet rests peacefully, no matter the result. That independence is the most uncommon strength, and nearly nobody holds it. This is because most have been conditioned to link their joy to factors beyond their control. Break that bond. Desire what you desire, but from a place of abundance, not scarcity. Allow the world to perceive that you're equally content with or without. And then, recognizing it can't sway you, the world will yield to you. If you've ever felt controlled by another, share your personal empowerment statement in one line below. These are the phrases you'll recite when craving becomes loud and attempts to shrink you again. Grasp a principle so straightforward that most people break it their whole lives without realizing. Items of little cost are handled with little regard. That's not harshness nor injustice. This is the fundamental rule through which humans determine worth. It dictates how every individual you encounter will assess your value. The mind dismisses anything acquired at no cost without hesitation. When something is offered without limit and for free, it automatically becomes undervalued. And you, aware or not, have been displaying your own price to the world. Whenever you abandon all tasks the moment someone summons you, you demonstrate that your time has no value. Each occasion you agree, when every fiber says refuse, you show that your limits are merely ornamental. Each time you excuse disrespect to maintain harmony, you convey that offending you has zero consequence. You've been discounting yourself and then pondering the reason. Others don't treat you as valuable, so increase your perceived worth without conceit. Pride is noisy and insecure, pushing away the very respect it seeks, Elevate yourself through silent, firm principles, and your focus becomes a currency, perhaps the most valuable one you own. This is something you can never retrieve after spending. Once given, stop scattering it like a pauper, tossing coins at everyone who looks your way. Allocate it like royalty purposefully and sparingly to individuals and activities that have proven worthy. Allow others to raise their level to meet yours. Require them to prove through actions, not talk, that they deserve a spot in your orbit. Never lower yourself to pursue someone who has shown they won't rise. This frightens the weak and excites the deserving, exactly the kind of filter you want. Observe what happens when you simply stop being so accessible. Your replies get slower because you're really busy building something significant. Your yes becomes rare and thus valuable, and people realize they can't just summon you on demand. Your presence must be earned. Your loyalty is a reward, not a default. Suddenly, the same people who overlooked you start paying attention. They feel the entry requirements have changed. They instinctively know that connecting with you now has a cost. Human nature has always craved what requires effort to attain. You didn't beg for this respect. You didn't demand it, you just stopped giving yourself away, and your worth adjusted naturally, like any market tightened from reduced supply. But understand the deeper truth behind the tactic, because missing it makes you cold, not powerful. The point isn't acting hard to get, it's becoming hard to get by filling your life with real purpose. Your discipline and clear direction make your time genuinely scarce, because it's truly committed elsewhere. The boundary shouldn't be a performance to manipulate. It should naturally flow from a man whose life is too full and focused to be hijacked by every passing demand. When you're deeply invested in your own mission, saying no to distractions costs nothing. You have somewhere more important to be. That's the difference between someone pretending to be busy and someone who truly is. One acts, the other builds, and people eventually always know which is which. So protect the gate, deliberately choose who enters your time, trust, inner circle, and peace. Let the others wait outside or wander away. The man who guards the gate sets the terms of every relationship. The one who leaves it wide open gets trampled by everyone who walks through. Honestly, raise the cost of reaching you, and watch the world suddenly treat as priceless what it once dismissed as free. If this sharpens something in you, comment, "My presence is earned." Number 7. Get comfortable being underestimated. A strange, powerful advantage hides where most men flee in shame: being underestimated. Your ego fights it. Every part of you wants recognition, applause, and to be taken seriously the moment you walk in. But the man who learns to wear underestimation like armor gains what the loud and flashy never will: the element of surprise and the freedom to move unseen. If others think you're beneath them, they become less guarded. They show their intentions, talk without caution, scheme in the open, and consider you harmless. In this way, they provide all the intelligence required to surpass them. Someone who is constantly observed has to be careful with every move. A person who is dismissed by others moves unnoticed, collecting data, learning, and preparing. Meanwhile, his competitors exhaust themselves trying to impress onlookers. Avoid the temptation to demonstrate your worth prematurely. Showing off is a fee that those lacking confidence pay for a sense of value, and the expense usually outweighs the benefit. If you hurry to reveal your entire capability, you inform your adversaries about what they face. This gives away the benefit of being a mystery. It's much smarter to allow them to form their own opinions. Dismiss you and feel reassured that they've figured you out. Let them think the outcome is set. Their confidence becomes your cover. While they celebrate, you get ready. While they take it easy, you construct. And when the time comes, you won't give any notice. You will simply take action with such power and accuracy that they'll be taken completely by surprise. And before they realize what occurred, the situation will have changed entirely under their feet. This demands a self-control that is almost uncomfortable. Being okay with being misunderstood and staying silent. Observing someone disregard you without feeling compelled to set things straight. Keeping your strength in check while your ego wants to use it for praise. But realize what you gain from that discipline. You gain time, you gain knowledge. You secure the invaluable benefit of remaining an enigma in a world where many people constantly reveal themselves. A foolish person requires others to recognize his abilities. A strategic person cares only about the outcome and is fine with acknowledgement coming later. Even if it never comes, there is a subtle satisfaction that those craving approval will never experience. Once your self-value is no longer tied to how others see you, you become truly liberated. You cease pretending to be strong and actually embody strength. You no longer react when someone misunderstands you because their misinterpretation isn't an injury. It becomes a resource that you have mastered using. Someone who must appear powerful remains a servant to others' views. But a person who can seem average while secretly possessing remarkable power has completely broken free. He doesn't respond to any observers or perform for any group. He acts based on his own plan at his own pace, not caring if anyone is paying attention, or mocking him or ignoring him. And here's the ultimate twist. People who undervalue you eventually become the builders of their own downfall. They will act with total recklessness, convinced they're up against someone inferior. They will stretch too far and become negligent. And you, after observing calmly from the darkness of their disdain, will just let their beliefs push them over the edge. They constructed their own ruin. You won't need to hit forcefully. You only need to be prepared when their pride completes the task for you. So allow them to undervalue you. Respond with a smile and keep quiet. Accept the insult as a present because that's exactly what it is. The universe reveals itself to those it holds no fear of. The person who embraces being undervalued will always learn much more about his adversaries than they ever learn about him. If this strikes a chord, write underestimated and unbothered in the comments. Number 8. Take charge of your emotions before someone else takes charge of them for you. Any emotion you don't control becomes a tool for others to pick you up, spin you around, and drop you wherever they like. Understand this fully. Since it's the cornerstone of all true authority, a man unable to regulate his anger can be led to destruction by anyone persistent enough to irritate him. A man who cannot master his fear can be directed with a single threat. Someone ruled by his appetites can be steered toward anything that seems to fulfill them. Your emotions, when left unchecked, are not confidential. These feelings are shared infrastructure, open gates that any keen observer can enter to reach the controls of your conduct. Many people in the world specialize in watching for precisely this. They observe the redness in your cheeks or the shakiness in your voice. They identify exactly which phrases make you recoil and which ones make you beam with pride. Every reaction you fail to restrain reveals where your strings are attached. So learn to sense everything while disclosing only what you deliberately choose to. This isn't about burying emotions. That's the approach of a fragile person who bottles them up until they explode inside. This is mastery, feeling the full force of anger, fear, desire, or sorrow, yet still being the one who decides what happens next. If any emotion shows on your face, the Stoics didn't strive to become numb. They aimed for sovereignty, making sure the inner storm never sees the wheel. When an insult arrives, experience it, acknowledge it privately, and keep your expression as still as deep water. When anxiety grips your chest, breathe through it and maintain a calm voice. When strong desire pulls at you, notice the pull without letting it dictate your actions. The aim isn't a person who feels nothing. It's someone whose emotions serve him instead of betray him. Notice how this changes every situation. The one trying to provoke you gets nothing in return. No anger, no response, no reward for their attempts. And provocation without reward quickly fades because manipulation relies on getting a reaction. Someone trying to intimidate you sees their threat dissolve into silence, and a threat that produces no fear loses all its power. You become a barrier that shatters their tactics uselessly. They can't find the lever because you've hidden it, and they can't pull the string because they can't see where it connects. Gradually, they realize you're not someone to be toyed with, because the game they are skilled at demands a reaction you simply refuse to give. This calmness isn't about being cold for no reason. This discipline protects everything. A single uncontrolled outburst can destroy months of careful positioning. One moment of visible weakness can give your opponent everything he needs. The person who masters his emotions guards the entrance to his own mind, and a protected mind cannot be infiltrated, manipulated, or rushed into errors. He arrives at his choices in the calm and silence of his own thinking, not in the emotional fire others intentionally stir up. He engages with what's around him. He doesn't just react, and this one difference sets apart the man in control of his existence, the one whose life is dictated by whoever triggers him in the moment. Start with minor irritations. An impolite remark, a contemptuous look, a little annoyance that tries to make you lose your calm for no good reason. Train yourself to respond with steadiness. Allow that stillness to be your natural state instead of a deliberate act. With time, tranquility ceases to be a role you play and turns into your very identity. A stable, immovable core that no outside turmoil can penetrate. Others will detect it as soon as you walk in. They will perceive a man who can't be shaken, lured, or swayed by the easy tricks that affect others. And just that awareness will cause most to cease their attempts. The man who cannot be touched is first and forever the one who has gained that invulnerability inside. If this resonates, reply with the words, "My calm is my crown." The ultimate liberty, the deepest wellspring of all the strength we've discussed, is this. Create a life so self-contained that no one person's validation can disturb it. Most men are vulnerable exactly because everything they treasure lies beyond their own boundaries. Their self-assurance is deposited in others' views. Their security depends on a relationship that might terminate. Their self-esteem is dispersed among many individuals who never signed up to bear it. So when one person pulls away, the entire system quakes because it lacked its own base of support. To start, you can never be invulnerable so long as what supports you is controlled by others. Therefore, reclaim those things for yourself. Base your value on aspects within your control. Your self-discipline, personal development, integrity, and the subtle proof of your own advancement. These cannot be given by anyone nor taken from you. Construct a life with a multitude of supports so that if any single one collapses, the whole edifice remains upright. A physique shaped by hard work, an intellect honed through learning, abilities that render you worthwhile regardless of your audience, a mission that infuses your days with significance irrespective of any applause. When your identity is rooted in these elements, others' validation turns into a nice extra instead of a frantic requirement. And as soon as you stop requiring it, you become liberated to accept it without being controlled by it. Observe the contradiction here as it pervades all. The man who craves validation seldom obtains it because his craving makes him burdensome, depleting, tiring to be around. The man who has created a rich life and truly doesn't need society's approval naturally attracts others because his independence communicates power, and people are attracted to power. Validation pursues the man who no longer pursues it. Admiration gravitates to the man who would be entirely okay without it. This isn't a tactic you can pretend. People can detect the contrast between feigned apathy and genuine lack of concern. Therefore, don't act out independence. Develop it. Cultivate it through your efforts in the early hours and late evenings. In the labor that remains hidden. In the principles you uphold when there is no one around to witness them. Realize what you are actually creating here. You are forging a person who cannot be dominated because he is immune to bribery, intimidation, or being coerced through isolation. Strip him of accolades, and he continues his efforts. Remove his acknowledgement, and he persists in constructing. If you retract your endorsement, he stays unaffected since his motivation never originated from you. No one can gain power over him, and there is no weakness to exploit. He has silently situated the bedrock of his existence out of the grasp of those who could manipulate it. By that act, he has rendered himself genuinely invulnerable. Here is the point where all our shared construction merges. Reflection, quiet, separation, the high barrier, and controlled feelings. Everything depends on this last element. An individual who created an existence independent of their validation has triumphed before the contest starts. His stride is different, his speech is different. He anticipates no one or nothing as he is already complete. When the world perceives a person it cannot sway, it performs its sole action towards such individuals. It clears space for him, softens its tone, and deals with him precisely as he earlier resolved to be dealt with. Construct that realm, dwell within it, and permit all else to approach you. If this resonates with something authentic inside you, respond with the words, "Hold on my own." Thus you now occupy the path's terminus, and the moment has arrived to collect it all. Reflect on what you have constructed as you converge it into one core reality. You discovered that existence is a mirror echoing the judgment you render upon yourself. You ceased trying out for an existence that was perpetually yours to take. You learned that quietness is a tool, that being aloof is liberation, that increasing the price of entry changes perceptions of your worth. You learn to allow their underestimation to control the feelings that others would exploit as grips. And lastly, to forge a realm so self-sufficient that it requires no external validation to endure. Every one of these is a block, and collectively they create a rarity, a person who is immovable. Recognize the transformation you have truly undergone. Not more vociferous, not tougher, not harsher. Those are disguises of individuals still acting out a power they lack. Your evolution is into something calmer and considerably more perilous to those seeking to dominate you. An individual who is stable, grounded, autonomous, whose core resides within him, inaccessible to praise, intimidation, refusal, or clamor. The external world cannot elevate you through a feeling you have subdued. It cannot purchase you with recognition you have no need for. It cannot unsettle a base you constructed unaided in the quietness of obscurity. That is the genuine definition of untouchable. It was never external protection. It has always been internal autonomy. Now comes the last twist, the insight you must hold on to well after these phrases dissolve. None of this functions as a mere act. You cannot simulate serenity, simulate independence, simulate disregard for validation, and anticipate the world to be deceived indefinitely. Individuals perceive the distinction between someone feigning completeness and one who genuinely is. Therefore, don't just act these things out, embody them, earn them during those early hours, in the practices that receive no applause. In the principles you uphold when nobody is watching. The seat of power is constructed in the mind initially, yet it is decorated by deeds. Each day in solitude where personality is shaped instead of shown. Put in the effort and your demeanor will come effortlessly. The world reacts to the authenticity within you because it inevitably perceives it. So conduct yourself in that manner. Enter each space with a pre-established notion of the treatment you expect. Talk less, but let your words carry weight. Desire your goals from a mindset of abundance instead of scarcity. Protect your boundaries. Conquer your inner turmoil. Construct your reality. And observe. Observe how others start to treat you precisely as the person you've silently evolved into without any request from you. For that was the fundamental truth all along. View yourself as strong initially, and the world is compelled to follow your example. Transformation never existed externally. It was always within you, waiting for your choice. So make that choice and then live as though you've already achieved it.